Oklahoma Career Tech. It's where confidence is built.
It's more than just practice. It's developing the skills to build a successful future.
We're doing work that matters.
To more than just us.
So, when a family needs me,
when my community needs me,
when Oklahoma needs me,
I'll be ready.
Well, hello and welcome, football fans, to a playoff edition of the Squirtle Pay Dirt Pick'em Show. I am your host, Andy Campbell. We have Mark Rogers, Sean Meek, and Jacob Diesehorst with us tonight, as always, and two special guests. First one, Ryan Beck. Ryan is a Fairview High School alum and a former teacher and coach at Minco Public Schools. Ryan is now president of the Minco School Board and also instructor at Canadian Valley Tech. So, Ryan, good to have you. Obviously, another Fairview guy on the show tonight. Always good to have more Fairview guys on the show. Our second guest, TJ Schultz. TJ has been a teacher for 20 years and coached at Enid, Deer Creek, and now Washington high schools. TJ is currently coaching high school golf and junior high basketball at Washington Public Schools. TJ is also on the broadcast crew for the Warriors football games every Friday night. Do a great job broadcasting Washington football games. So TJ and Ryan, good to have you guys on the show tonight.
Thanks. Appreciate you having us.
All right, we're going to discuss our 8 Squirtle Network games in the first round of the playoff. We wish all of our Squirtle schools the best of luck throughout the playoffs. So all these matchups we're going to talk about tonight for free, Squirtle app, Squirtle.tv. We have 2 Squirtle games of the week this week. Both of these will be school network broadcasts. You can hear TJ and his crew when Chisholm goes to Washington for that first round matchup, and then Cashin at Minco, both of those, again, school broadcast networks. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our pick'em game number 1, starting the show off in Class 4A. Coach Brandon Tyler's Sallisaw team dropped 2 of their last 3 games against Ada and Poto to finish third in 4A4. The Black Diamonds will travel to Grove to take on the 9-1 Ridge Runners. Grove's only loss in the season was the district champ Cushing back in early October. Mark Rogers, who gets the win in Grove on Friday?
Sallisaw was up 20-0 against Ada in that final game, which would have given them the district championship if they would have held on. But Ada rallied with 21 straight points, so that was a good victory for the Cougs. This was a matchup last year, and only it was reversed. Grove went to Sallisaw. Sallisaw won it 27-26. Grove's made 6 of the last 7 playoffs, so there's a little revenge potentially on the line here. Grove in its last, this is nuts, but they've scored almost 200 points in their last 3 games, 50, 84, and 57. So their offense is really dialed up. This is a tough one. I think 4A4 is really, really good. I'm going to lean Sallisaw here in a tight one.
Yeah, Mark made a lot of really great points there. Grove looks really tough. 9-1, only lost to a really good Cushing team. But what Mark said, 4A4 is just a grind. I mean, that was a gauntlet to go through. I think Sallisaw's played a little tougher schedule, a little more battle tested than Grove is. And I agree with Mark. I think Sallisaw's going to go on the road and maybe get a little bit of an upset here, but go to Grove and get the win.
TJ.
Yeah, I see that Grove beat Sapulpa, 6A school, pretty decent 6A school.
Yeah,
good win. And then beat Fort Gibson, who's traditionally good, got that big lineman that's getting recruited by everybody. And like Mark said, 45 points a game throughout the season. Sallisaw beat Broken Bow, who has a Graydon Howell kid that's exciting, one of the best athletes in the state. So, again, a lot of really tough picks, I think, this week. But I'm a big believer in the travel wearing people down. So going all the way up to Grove from Sallisaw, I'm going to take the Grove Ridge Runners.
All right, TJ going against our 2 experts, Mark and Sean. Ryan Beck, let's go to you, Sallisaw at Grove.
All right. Well, like Mark said, Sallisaw beat Grove out last year in the playoffs by just a point. So there's definitely some motivation for revenge for Grove. And as I said, Sallisaw played Ada very close, to almost knocked those guys off. So I'm going to go with the Sallisaw Black Diamonds as well.
All right, Jacob Diesehorst.
Grove's got explosive offense too. They've been steamrolling 4A, averaging, I think, 43 points a game. Their quarterback, Eli Wisdom, is put up big numbers. Sallisaw is getting into the playoffs, kind of playing well, but they've allowed over 30 points in the games that they have lost. And Grove has like a more balanced attack, it seems like, and home field advantage. And so I'm actually going in a different direction than the majority of the panel here. I think Eli Wisdom might be the best dual threat player in the east side of the state for the 4A, and Grove is at home, and it's going to be a tight game. I've got Grove a 10-point favorite at home, and I think the game's closer than that, but I got Grove winning 42-34.
Well, that's a bad line, by the way. But anyway,
okay,
what
we'll
happens?
See.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't favor anybody in this game by 10. I think it could go right down to the wire. So and no disrespect to Grove. I mean, that was a really good win against Sepulpa, who played for the district championship on Friday night. But I think this will be really close.
Yeah, I have it 42. I have it a one-score game. It comes down to one score. So, that's my line. I'm sticking to it.
I like it. Let's go to Class 3A for our next pick'em game. Kingfisher finished the regular season with a 7-3 record and third in District 3A1. Kingfisher will travel to Lone Grove to take on the 6-4 Longhorns. Lone Grove has won 4 in a row after starting the season 2-4. Sean Meek, let's start with you. Who gets the win in Carter County on Friday?
Yeah, so I picked against Kingfisher last week at Plainview, and they proved me wrong. So these guys got a couple common opponents when you kind of look at their results this year. They both played Anadarko, close game, lost. Both played Plainview. So you kind of look at that and kind of see how both teams have done against those teams. I picked against Kingfisher last week, and they proved me wrong. So I'm going to pick them this week. I'm going to pick them my second consecutive pick here to go on some road dogs to go on the road and get a win. So I'm going with the Yellow Jackets.
Mark Rogers.
Congrats to Kingfisher making their 26th straight appearance in the playoffs. The last time they missed was 1999. That's a heck of a run. These two teams played 3 years ago, and Kingfisher won 28-27 in the first round, so that was close. Lone Grove was very close to not even making the playoffs. They were down to Bristow by a point with 1:30 to go. They went on a drive, got it down inside of Bristow territory, and Yariel Delatorre kicked a 32-yard field goal for them to win that game. Tatum Quinn's very good quarterback for the Longhorns. I picked against Kingfisher last week. I'm going to go with Lone Grove in this one. They've had a team that's been really good. They faced a tough schedule this year, maybe just a tad tougher than what Kingfisher has faced. I know Kingfisher beat Plainview, and Lone Grove lost to them early in the season. It's a big rivalry game, the 5 Mile War there. But I will go with Lone Grove in a tight one.
Ryan Beck.
Yeah, Kingfisher's got to make the over 2-hour trip to Lone Grove. But they did that last week, going up against Plainview and knocking those guys off. So I'm going to go with the former Minco assistant coach, Brady Wardlaw, leading the offense, and we're going to take down the Lone Grove Longhorns.
TJ.
Yeah, I got Kingfisher winning this one too. Another close one, but I think the thing I got going is that Kingfisher beat Plainview early last week. Lone Grove lost to them, and so I'm gonna go with the Yellow Jackets.
All right, Jacob.
Yeah, this is a classic of 3A, trench fight. It's Kingfisher's grit versus Lone Grove's muscle, and Kingfisher's offense has really found rhythm like late in the season, especially in that Plainview game. Lone Grove's ground-heavy physical team, and Kingfisher's secondary is going to have to hold up against the play action, things like that. I think home field in the first round does make a big difference in the Oklahoma playoffs. And as hard as it is for me to pick against Kingfisher, it's kind of my second hometown with my pops living there. But I got Lone Grove a 2.5-point favorite, and I think Lone Grove wins the game 28-24 in a classic game that comes down to one drive.
By the way, we're all thinking and praying for Tom Nelson. He's in the hospital undergoing his stem cell transplant. He sent his picks in. He has Grove in that first game, Kingfisher second game. So I'll try to remember to get Tom's picks out there. Let's go to pick'em game number 3. We're going to drop all the way down to 8-man football in Class B. Pioneer finished 4th in a good B1 district and gets rewarded with a first-round trip to Hollis to take on the 8-1 Tigers. Hollis's only loss on the season was to Laverne back in late September. Sean, you're our new 8-man expert. Can Pioneer pull off the expert on the road on Friday?
Well, Pioneer's a really good team. I think they're probably the best 4 seed in Class B by a long shot. Like you said, Andy, B1 District 1 is stacked. You look at their losses on the year. I mean, OBA, O'Keene, Sealing, Laverne, I think. I mean, so there's no shame in any of those losses. Pioneer's a really good team, but I've got Hollis matching up with Dewar in the semis in a couple weeks. So I think for that reason, I got to take Hollis. I think they're just too tough in this one.
Tom Nelson also taking Hollis. Mark?
I'll go with Hollis. Last year, Dewar really got the best of them in the semifinals. Dewar, to me, may be a little bit more vulnerable than they were a year ago. They came up with a 2-point win over Caddo this past week. So I think Hollis is probably gunning for that one coming up in a couple of weeks. But I'll take the Tigers over the Mustangs.
TJ, I know you've watched a lot of 8-man film so far this year. Who you have, Pioneer or Hollis?
Yeah, I think the only 8-man game I might have ever been to, I've been to 2. One was I was doing helping out Coach Page at Yale, watched the Yale Bulldogs when Chris Elrick was the coach down there. And then when I was in Enid, we went and watched the Pond Creek Hunter game one time. And so, yeah, I would do a little bit of research though. And I might have been wrong on Pond Creek Hunter, but Pioneer, again, tough district. And I think Coach Meek mentioned it. Their non-district was tough too. And so really battle tested. And then Hollis lost to Laverne, but so did Pioneer earlier in the year. So I think Hollis is going to win this one, but I think it's going to be a really close game.
By the way, David Page was an incredible coordinator, offensive coordinator for the Maroons junior high teams, 8th grade and 9th grade, undefeated. And so he may have missed his calling. I mean, he did okay in basketball, but who knows what it would have been like if he would have continued to stay on as a football coach.
Some say a precursor to the Mike Leach era.
It was. We had trick plays. And even one year he sent us a fake wreath of dead flowers from Perry to motivate us. That was next level coaching right there.
All right, Ryan, let's go to you, Pioneer at Hollis.
Yeah, like TJ said earlier, that those bus trips sometimes get you. So it's a 3-hour, 15-minute bus ride for Pioneer going down to Hollis. So Hollis is a tough place to play. So I'm gonna go with the Hollis Tigers as well.
Jacob.
You know, Hollis boasts one of Class B's best rushing attacks. They've been running for like 300 yards a game. Pioneer does have speed, but I don't know if they have as much trench size as Hollis boasts. And so, of course, we expect Hollis to lean heavy on power and chew up clock and run the football and try to dominate the line of scrimmage. That Pioneer's going to have to flip the line of scrimmage to go on the road at Hollis and be able to win this game. They've definitely got athletes, but Hollis brings a sledgehammer run game. So expect 300 yards rushing for Hollis and a happy home crowd. I got Hollis a 12.5-point favorite, and I have them winning 44-30.
All right, let's go to pick'em game number 4 in Class A Division II. Fairland Owls won 6 of their 7 games of the year to finish second in A2-4. Fairland will host the Wowoka Tigers in a first-round game on Friday. Wowoka is 6-4 on the year and finished third in A2-3. Mark, who wins in Fairland?
Man, that was a tough loss for Wowoka last week, 48-46 in double overtime to Regent Prep. Wowoka scored, but they didn't get the 2-point conversion, and Regent was able to get it. Wowoka's had a good season. Credit to the Owls. I mean, they put a whipping on Woodland, the defending state champions from a year ago.
Picked it.
And that was a good pick. I did not get that one right. Carson Schertz, their quarterback's been good, really, really good for Coach Laverty in his first season there. He's been a multi-year starter. The Owls are going for their second playoff win since 1988. They've only had one playoff win since the 88 season when they made it to the state quarterfinals. I think they're going to get it this week on Friday night and improve to 9-2. So I will go with Fairland.
John.
Well, I was wrong on both these teams last week. I picked Wewoka to win, and I picked Fairland to lose. So I was wrong. I went 0 for 2 on both these teams last week. Mark kind of mentioned it. Fairland had a great win against Woodland last week. Wewoka, tough loss in overtime. I think it's going to be a really tight game. But I'm going to go the opposite this week. I'm going to take the home team. I'll take Fairland to get it done against Wewoka this week.
Ryan.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same bus as y'all, going with Fairland on this one, the home team. So yeah, that's had a good victory against Woodland, so I'm on the Fairland bus as well.
CJ.
Yeah, I'm going to take Fairland. Worked with Coach Laverty when he was the defensive coordinator at Deer Creek. Taught with him, and so I think Ladarius Woods is an incredible player for Wewoka, but I think Coach Laverty have a answer for him, and the Owls will come up with the victory.
Jacob. You're on mute, Jacob.
Wewoka has shown all season that they can score, and but I don't think that they have faced a challenge up front like Fairland. Fairland's offense, is averaging 36 points themselves, and Wewoka's defense, unfortunately, has been prone to give up points this season, and I think that difference is just efficiency. Why Fairland is the favorite. I think Wewoka's speed will keep this game fun early, but Fairland's line control and home crowd wins the night. I got Fairland a 9.5 point favorite, and I have them covering and winning 38-28.
Halfway done with our network games. Let's go to pick'em game number 5. The Blanchard Lions have had an up and down year in 2025, finishing with a 5-5 record and third place finish in 4A2. Blanchard will hit the road to Weatherford to take on the 8-2 Eagles. Mark Rogers, who gets it done in Weatherford for a first-round matchup? Blanchard at Weatherford.
Weatherford's last playoff win, 2019. So it's been a while for them. This is a tough one to pick. I have a feeling that this is going to be a pretty close point spread. Noah Wald's done a nice job at quarterback for Weatherford. Kalen Clift is an excellent sophomore linebacker that they've got on the defensive side of the ball. Noah Smith has been very good for Blanchard at the quarterback position, throwing for a ton of yards. The Lions have faced the tougher schedule. In spite of the record of 5-5 and Weatherford being 8-2, I will go with Blanchard over Weatherford.
Sean.
I think out of all of our games this week, I think this is a true toss-up. I think if you played this game 10 times, each team may win 5 of them. I see it being a really tough game, really tight game. A lot of the same points that Mark mentioned, but I'm going to go opposite of Mark. I'm going to pick the Eagles to get it done at home. A couple of their losses this year, Elgin, no shame in losing to that. I think they're the best team in 4A. And then tough loss to Clinton. But anyway, I'm picking Weatherford to get it done at home.
TJ.
Yeah, I'm like you, Coach. I think it's a toss-up, and when that happens, I go with the home team. So give me the Weatherford Eagles.
Ryan.
Yeah, should be a good game there, Weatherford. Blanchard's, I think, might be down just a little bit what they've been in the recent past. So I'm going to go with the Weatherford Eagles in a close one.
Jacob.
These are two teams that thought they were playing somebody else when the brackets first came out, and now they're playing a different team. So they had Weatherford thought they were going on the road. Now they're playing a home game. But the shuffle ended up giving us a matchup in the first round like this in 4A. I mean, you can't ask for anything more, right? This is a classic 4A West brawl, physical upfront play and run game. But Weatherford's defense has been a big factor for their 8 wins this season. They've held opponents to 15 points or less in all of their home games, I believe, if you look at the stats. And I expect this to be a grinder, a kind of a low-scoring game because, I agree with everybody here that this is close to a toss-up, which is why I have Weatherford a 6-point favorite. I've given away my hint. I give 6 points for home field. And that's the only reason they're favored. But I do think that Weatherford, their front 7 is just built a little bit different than Blanchard's this season because Blanchard's rebuilding. So Weatherford wins at 24-21.
All right, let's go to pick'em game number 6. The Chandler Lions finished 7-3 in the regular season, good enough for a third-place finish in their district. Kiefer Trojans are 8-2 on the year with losses only to Jones and Kingston. Mark, can the Lions get an upset win in Kiefer on Friday?
I think they can. Chandler's made 7 straight playoff appearances. Kiefer does have a win over Vian, which is pretty impressive to me. They're 8-2. Cash Worley, coach's son, lots of experience at quarterback. He can run and he can throw. And these two teams, Chandler's been a little bit bigger throughout history. Kiefer has been back and forth between 8-man and 11-man, but has really kind of exploded in growth there as a Tulsa suburb, a little south of Tulsa, right next to Bixby and Glenpool. They've got great facilities up there and a great program. I wonder if these teams have played very many times. So I was at thegame.com and check, and they have played once, and it was in 1920, and Chandler beat Kiefer 129-0. And so there's going to be obvious revenge on the mind of the Trojans this week against the Lions, wanting to erase the memories they don't have of that game. So I'm going to go with Kiefer to get the win.
Try to follow up that stat, Sean. Good luck.
Well, Mark just spit us with some numbers right there. I think that it'll definitely be closer than the last time these two schools faced off. Okay, I think it'll be less than 129-point spread there. Now, I think what Mark said. I think that Chandler has the guys to go to Kiefer and get the win. I know that they'll probably won't be favored here when Jake gives the line here in a minute, but I think that Chandler's got enough tools to go up there and get it done. So I'm going to pick a little bit of an upset here. I'm going to pick the Lions to go on the road up to Kiefer and go get a first-round victory against the Trojans.
Ryan.
Yeah, another tough first-round matchup here. Both teams are on a winning streak, more than 5 games, and both teams are playing really well. So, again, these close games, I'm going to go with the home team, so the Kiefer Trojans.
TJ.
I see a contrast in style with Chandler's running game versus Kiefer's passing game. Chandler's known for being very physical, but Kiefer's been knocking on the door the last couple of years. And the game that stands out in my mind is they're right there to make the state championship game probably 3 years ago when Jaden Nickens returned the touchdown back or returned a kickoff for a touchdown. So I think that they're going in the right direction. Kiefer is. So my pick is Cash Worley and the Kiefer Trojans.
Jacob.
Yeah, Kiefer's had a high-flying offense all season, averaging close to 40 points a game. Chandler leans on their defense more in a lot of their close wins, and they've had an opportunistic defense. I expect fireworks in this game, but I think ultimately Kiefer's depth and home field, again, a big edge in the Oklahoma high school playoffs in the first round, I believe. Wins out. There's been times this season where we've all, picked with our hearts and not wanted to piss Lugna off. And I, despite that loyalty, and I know that I'm going to get a text or a call from Lugna now for picking against Chandler, but I have to do it. I got Kiefer a 10-point favorite at home. I think it stays closer than that, but I got Kiefer winning on a late touchdown, 35-28.
All right, we're going to get into our first Squirtle game of the week, which features Cashin at Minco. Before we do, Mark, you called the Squirtle game of the week last week with Fairview at Cashin. It's been in the news a lot lately. I saw several articles and stories covering that game. Give us a recap of what happened in the last minute and overtime of that football game, Mark.
Well, I saw the news story today. I don't know if the LED light celebration that was set off after Cashin's 2-point conversion to tie the game at 36 was responsible for the transformer blowing, but they're going to have to figure that out. It was a very quick response get to Crescent, and it was amazing. We had one bad cable. I thought Vegas Kerr's head was going to explode up there, but we did get on in time to show what was about 11 minutes of action at the end of the overtime period. So it was a very well played game. It was one of the best games that we've had this season long. I think Adam and I were about to get a sheet cake delivered to us before the lights went out, so that was unfortunate. I don't know who got the cake, but it was a dessert showdown between Miss Antwine and Sarah Smith, but only one dessert showed up that night, so we're going to give the advantage to Fairview on that. But yeah, that was a crazy contest, one that I'll never forget.
Like I said, Mark and Adam called that game on Squirtle. Really good football game. With Cashin's loss to Fairview, they finished third in A1 and will travel to Minco for a first-round matchup against the Bulldogs. Coach Wardlaw's team has been impressive all year, finishing with a 9-1 record. The only loss coming to district champ Wynnewood. Mark, we'll go ahead and start with you. Which team gets a win in Minco in the Squirtle game of the week on Friday?
Minco has been to 16 straight playoffs. That's an impressive run for a really good program with a great coaching staff and an even better superintendent. A school board president. So Minco's also won 10 of the last 15 first-round games. They lost last year in the first round, which is a little bit of a surprise. So this is a really good team. They've won the last 2 meetings with Cashin. Kellen Smith, I was super impressed with him last week for Cashin. Coach Shackelford threw the entire run game out. It was just non-existent. It was all pass in the second half. They couldn't get past a big physical front from Fairview. But I was very impressed with Ethan Waswo, who's been hurt some this season and came back last week, was a force on both sides of the ball for Cashin. I like Kellen Smith quite a bit. I think this one's going to be another close game, but I'm going to go with Cashin to win it.
Sean.
Well, we got 2 really good games of the week this week, starting with this one. But first of all, hats off to the folks at Cashin and Fairview and Crescent for making that happen last week when the lights went out in Cashin. That's a neat story. So pretty awesome. The Crescent administration step up like that, be able to host and move the game, down the road and get that played. So hats off to the people at those 3 schools to make that happen. Now this looks like going to be a great game. 2 really good teams. I think in instances like this, until Cashin's got that big game experience, they've kind of been there, done that for a lot of years. I know Minco has too, but I think Cashin's going to find a way to get this done. I think they're going to find a way to make a play late in the game. I see it being really close, but I see Cashin pulling out a tight one at the end.
All right, we have to go to school board president Ryan Beck.
All right. First of all, man, what a tough first-round matchup for both teams. Both teams are going to have a tough road to the state championship. If everything kind of plays out according to the paper, what the paper says, it's going to be this winner of this is going to advance, play Tonkawa, then Fairview, then Rejoice for the championship. I mean, what a tough road for either one of these teams. But anyways, both teams have great coaches. Coach Wardlaw just won his 100th career game a couple weeks ago, and according to IwasAtTheGame.com, I think he's the second youngest to do that. So we're proud of Coach Wardlaw and all the effort that he's put in. And I think as Mark has said, or Sean who said that, I don't know, one of you two, said that Minco's won the last 2 games. It was a couple years ago. But this is a different Wildcat team. Cashin showed last week that they can go out and compete with anyone in their class by losing in overtime to Fairview. Cashin's very athletic. They'll spread you out, throw the ball all around the field. They're talented on both sides of the football. Coach Shack does a great job of putting his players in a position to be successful. On the other side, like I say, Minco head coach Brock Wardlaw has the Bulldogs playing a high level. My only kind of concern for Minco is they've beaten everyone by 20, 30 points, except for 2 close games. Dibble, the second game of the year, which they won 20-12, and then the game that they got beat at Wynnewood. So that concerns me a little bit since they haven't had to play 4 quarters very much this year. But I think Minco with the hometown crowd, and I think that the Bulldogs are going to be able to pull out this game.
All right, TJ, let's go to you.
Yeah, I played golf in the Squirtle tournament with some Minco coaches, Brad Pinnock and his guys. Coach Wardlaw, I mowed with him when I lived in the Deer Creek area, him and his brother. And so got a little connection there with Minco, but I think Coach Shack and the Cashin Wildcats are going to get it done. Just go with the experience from Coach Shackelford.
Jacob.
I thought for a minute there that we were going to have one of the shockingest moments on the history of the show with Minco's administrator picking Cashin the way he was giving it up to Cashin. That would have been probably one of the greatest moments, or the shocking moments, like the like reality TV stuff made. I feel like the Housewives of Fairview. Okay, so game of the week. This is definitely game of the week material. Class A1. It's got a lot of the game of the week matchups across the board, and I think every game in the playoffs in A1 is going to be a dogfight. Just a lot of good football teams. We talked about this I think all season long on the show about how deep A1 is with really good football teams, really good coaches, teams that can beat anybody on any given night. And these two teams definitely fall into that category. This is the best matchup in A1, I believe, in the playoffs, round one. So just a brutal heavyweight bout. Cashion, has found its form again. Shaq, no surprise. Minko's defense has been elite all year long. I think turnovers will decide this game. It's a little bit of power on Minko's side versus precision on Cashion's side. But I think in the end, Cashion's precision and they can just sling the ball around will be the difference. So I have to pick at least one upset because I've got Minko a 2.5-point favorite at home, but I'm picking Cashion 28-27 in a squeaker. Coach Shaq pulls one more trick out of his hat and goes on the road and pulls the win out versus a very good Minko team.
Tom Nelson also taking the Cashion Wildcats in that game. Forgot to mention he's taking Fairland, Blanchard, Kiefer, and then Cashion. Let's go to our second Squirtle game of the week. And this is going to take us, obviously, to Class 2A1. Chisholm Longhorns won 4 of their last 5 games to finish 4th in their district. The Longhorns have a tough task ahead traveling to Washington to take on the top-ranked Warriors. Washington is looking to four-peat in Class 2A1. Mark Rogers, Chisholm have any chance in Washington on Friday?
Slim. Creed Barrett is putting up numbers early on in his career that could be some of the best ever for quarterbacks in the state of Oklahoma. Very accurate. Case Alexander, I was incredibly impressed with everything that he did on defense when we had that game against Marlowe earlier in the season. So I think that it's been a good year for Chisholm. That was a tough district to make the playoffs in this year with Mount St. Mary having a good season and a Millwood program that is, second to none historically in the state, ends up at home this year and not in the playoffs. The team that Washington's faced in the last 2 state championship games. I'm gonna go with Washington, and the second round of Class 2A Division I are going to have some great games. The districts are all too deep with very good teams. In some cases 3. So I think that next week we're going to have some tough picks coming up if we are going to go into that class. But I'll go with the Warriors.
Sean.
Well, I think Chisholm's one of the most improved teams probably in the state in a really deep, tough Class 2A1. They've really had a good year, like Mark said. That's a tough district. They played some really good teams, pretty tough this year. But Washington was my preseason pick to win 2A1. They've got so many weapons, like Mark said, we called that game a few weeks ago. They just got so many ways they can beat you and so many guys they can hurt you with. But Washington's my pick to win the state championship, so I can't pick against them. I think Chisholm's able to keep it close for a little bit. Again, I think they're going to be motivated and playing hard, but Washington will just be too much for them.
All right, TJ, one of the voices of the Washington Warriors. Give us your pick on this matchup.
Yeah, so Connor Quintero, quarterback, Chisholm. They like to throw the ball around. And Washington, going into the season, one of the questions was secondary. Lost 3 guys from last year. But as the seasons went on, I feel like those guys have answered the call, gotten better every game. And then I talked to some people at OSU game that were from Chisholm, asked them what was going on because thought that they were going to be, Mount St. Mary basically stepped up, but I thought there'd be 2 or 3 in that district. And he said they'd compete, but then in the second half, they'd struggle to stop the run. And if you've seen any Washington games, Javen Hall and Josiah Dickerson really, really running the ball well, both averaging over 100 yards a game. So I think that's going to do the trick, give that victory to Washington. And I'll channel my inner Lane Jones and give folks from Chisholm a place to eat as you're coming down I-35 in Tecumseh. Stop at El Huevo. Ryan Springer, one of the good friends of mine, runs that place, little Mexican place. Very good food.
Well done, TJ. Very well done with the food pick. Lane Jones will be proud. Ryan Beck, let's go to you. Chisholm at Washington.
All right. I actually have a connection with Washington myself. I did my student teaching there, student teaching and coaching at Washington. Went to the church down there at Goldsby Baptist Church. And I was actually in the same Sunday school class there for a while with head coach Brad Beller. So we got a little connection right there. Man, does he have some things rolling in Washington? Anytime they lose, it's shocking. They have the one loss earlier this year to Sulphur. But I'm going to go with the Washington Warriors to roll the Longhorns. All right, Jacob Chisholm at Washington.
Yeah, I have a connection with Washington too. My youngest, Lauren, my 13-year-old, the 7th grade Deer Creek cheerlead team was at state middle school finals at Washington last weekend. And Deer Creek came in second in 6A behind Jinx, but awesome job by the Deer Creek 7th grade girls cheer squad and my little Lolo. So, but Washington is a complete team. They're just a 2A perennial powerhouse. They're averaging over 40 points a game. They, like Mark said, they're like suffocating defensively. Chisholm's had a great season, but it's going to be really hard for Chisholm's offense to get much traction going into Washington on the road, playing and one of the hardest places to play too, because Washington definitely brings it every week, especially at home. Great fan base, a lot of tradition. I got Washington a 21.5 point favorite at home, and Washington is a wagon, and they've been steamrolling everyone. No reason that stops Friday night. Washington wins at 42-14.
All right, those are our 8 Squirrel Network games. Best of luck again to our Squirtle Network teams in the playoffs this year. You can watch those matchups for free at Squirtle.tv and the Squirtle app.
6 surgeons, 4 locations, 1 goal: to improve the health and lives of people in Oklahoma. At Oral and Maxillofacial Associates, we treat every patient like family. As the preferred dental implant and oral surgery specialist of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and with over 30 years of service to our community, we are trusted by professionals and dedicated to expert care. With 4 convenient locations around the metro area, we are here for you. Trust the experts at OMA. Visit our website, www.omaok.com.
Let's go and now discuss 4 other games of interest this week in the playoffs. Cannot watch these games on Squirtle, but again, these should be really good matchups. Let's start with Norman North at Mustang. Obviously, Coach Jones, a great friend of the show. I've been lucky to have him on the last few years of the playoffs. But Mark Rogers, this is a good first round matchup.
It's a really good first round matchup. By the way, I'd recommend El Gordo or the Birria Tacos at El Huevo, which is a home game for me. Very close. This is a great quarterback matchup between Nash Henry, the sophomore at Norman North, and Jaden O'Neal, the senior at Mustang. I mean, he was impressive. There is a ton of skill in this matchup when you go with Mason James at Norman North and just an array of different skill position players at Mustang. They're just really good. 11-10 all time. Mustang has the advantage in this series. The last time they played, it was 49-48. There may be more points scored in this one than that. High scoring game. Mustang wins.
Sean.
Yeah, I think this looks like it's going to be a really, really tight game. Mustang's actually one of my kind of dark horses to make some noise in 6A1. I think they're going to be too much for Norman North in this one. They've been playing really well. I got them winning this game and then getting a rematch with a week 2 rematch with Broken Arrow in the quarters next week, and then getting a chance to go play Bixby the week after that. So I'm going to pick Mustang to get it done at home.
In that first game between Mustang and Broken Arrow, Jaden O'Neal didn't play, so it was a lower scoring game, and it would be interesting to see those two teams match up again if Mustang had their quarterback. I mean, Broken Arrow is a lot better now than they are, and we're not just advancing Mustang in this game, but that would be, I think, a good game to see next week.
No doubt.
Let's go to you.
Yeah, I got the Mustang Broncos in this one. Really good football team. Like I said, offensive stars all over the place. So I'm going to go with Mustang.
TJ.
Yeah, Mustang played Bixby the closest in the state. We watched that game on Squirtle with Adam and Mark, and it took Bixby running a fake punt. Who I don't even know if that was the punter. They just had some fast kid back there and fake punting in their own territory to seal that victory. So I'm going to go with Jaden O'Neal and the Johnson twins. They're going to be too much for the T-Wolves.
Jacob.
These are two 6A1 offensive machines, pile on points. I so expect points. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. It's just going to be a shootout. Possession is going to be a big difference, and turnovers is going to be a big difference in a game where you got two explosive offenses. If one of the other defenses can make a big play, get some points, pressure the other team's quarterback will be, that's how you can disrupt Mustang's explosive offenses, maybe getting to the quarterback. But I think home crowd should be just a little bit of a nod too for Mustang, who I have a 5.5 point favorite at home. And again, high scoring game. And I think Mustang wins it 38-35.
All right, let's go to our second non-Squirtle game, Collinsville at McAllister. Sean Meek.
This one's tough to pick. This is a pretty intriguing game looking at both teams. McAllister, they started off the season 0-4. They're on a 6-game winning streak, so they're riding high at the right time. I think this is another toss-up when you look at it. Probably come down to which team takes care of the ball and does the things necessary to win, able to run, eliminate big plays on defense and things like that. But I think this is truly a toss-up, so I'm just going to take McAllister because they're at home. I'll give them a slight advantage in this one.
Mark.
McAllister has been 8 straight playoffs. Collinsville 10 straight. McAllister's won a bunch of games in a row, including against Booker T. Washington, which is a very good team. So rematch the 21 finals that Collinsville won 42-35. Brody Parker had 3 touchdowns throwing last week and 1 rushing for McAllister. Scott Rigby is a very good running back for Collinsville. They've got a sophomore quarterback that's done a nice job this year stepping in. Really good matchup in the first round. I will go with. This is tough, man. I'll go with McAllister at home.
TJ.
Yeah, I think Coach Craig has the Buffaloes moving in the right direction at the right time. Started 0-4 against some tough opponents, but like Mark had said, they beat Booker T, beat Bishop Kelly. Collinsville has lost. Their 2 losses have come to Pryor, who's a very good team, and so is Del City. I just think McAllister is more battle-tested. They're at home. I think Coach Craig will get the job done, so I'm taking the Buffaloes.
Ryan.
Yeah, hard to argue with what's been said. Like I said, McAllister came out 0-4 this season, but then they've won 6 in a row. So I'm going to go with the streaking McAllister Buffaloes over Collinsville.
Jacob.
Collinsville is a physical team, but McAllister will be the most physical team they've played all season. Their line and their running game, I think, sets them apart. This will be a statement game, I think, for McAllister. Come out against Collinsville, control the tempo, wear Collinsville down late. Another really great matchup on the east side of the state between two, perennial powerhouses. I've got McAllister, a 9.5 point favorite at home, and I think they pull away late 31-21.
All right, guys, 2 more pick'em games left for tonight. Really good first round matchup. Again, Bishop McGuinness at Guthrie. Mark Rogers.
Man, I mean, McGuinness goes 9-1, and they have to go on the road in the first round of the playoffs. That's crazy. These 2 teams have taken a couple years off from playing 12 years in a row. It's the 25th all-time meeting, and McGuinness has got the upper hand in the series. So 27 straight playoffs for McGuinness. They have not lost a first-round playoff game since 2014. So that is a very impressive run, whether it's been Class 5A or Class 4A. Gavin Brazil, Sam Randolph, got some friends with grandson and son there that are really good players in the offensive line. Guthrie hasn't missed the playoffs since 2019. It's tough to go play at the Rock and win, but I'm going to go with Bishop McGuinness to beat Guthrie.
Sean.
Yeah, Mark said it. You know, you go 9-1, and your reward is you get the 3 seed and you get to go to the Rock to play Guthrie in the first round. We've talked about it all night, like how good some of these first round games are. But I mean, McGinnis and Guthrie at Guthrie in first round is one of the best ones. On the same points that Mark said, I think it's going to be a really, really close, competitive game. But you know, Guthrie almost got it done last week against Carl Albert. That was probably the best game in the state, maybe that in the Cash and Fairview game. Just looking at those 2 games last week, but I'm going to pick Guthrie to get it done at home in a tight game over McGinnis, and got Guthrie going all the way to the semifinals in 5A and meeting Del City there. So I'm going to take the Blue Jays in this one.
Sean taking Guthrie. Ryan Beck, let's go to you. Bishop McGinnis at Guthrie.
Yeah, another tough matchup here. 2 really good football teams. Just which team doesn't turn it over, which team can run the football, which team doesn't make the big mistake. So I'm going to go with the home team again, the Guthrie Blue Jays.
TJ.
Yeah, this is the hardest game I had to pick on this one. 2 tradition-rich programs. McGinnis only lost to MacArthur. Guthrie's 2 losses to Tuttle, who probably the favorite to win in 4A, and then Carl Albert last week by 5. So I do have family that lives in Guthrie, and Thanksgiving's coming up. Don't want to get neglected from that. So I'm going to take the Blue Jays. It's hard for visitors to win at the Rock, so taking Coach BB and Guthrie.
Jacob.
Yes, really hard game to pick. What a draw for Bishop after an amazing season. The 1 slip up, and they have to go on the road at Guthrie. But what a awesome atmosphere for an Oklahoma high school football game, and an awesome first round matchup between 2 great schools. I too have some ties to these schools. My very, very good friends, who I miss very much from our soccer family days, Luke and Diana Pittman, and their son Nick Pittman, who is one of the young studs in Oklahoma high school football. Nick is a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball for McGinnis. Made a lot of big plays, interceptions to the house, kickoff returns. He does a lot of the little things, and if he doesn't end up D1 in football, he probably will in soccer. And so, as I got Guthrie a 6.5-point favorite, and as much as I love the Pittman family, I wasn't invited to Thanksgiving, so I'm taking Guthrie 28-27.
All right, let's go to our final pick'em game of the night. This is also features a Squirrel School and can be watched on squirrel.tv and the Squirrel app. Dibble at Hennessy. Sean Meek, give us your pick.
Yeah, this one looks tough too. Just kind of looking at both these teams the last few weeks. Looks like it's going to be a really tight game. This is a tough one to pick. This is probably the one game that I kind of flipped back and forth the most looking at today. I'm going to take Dibble to go on the road and get it done. I think they're going to have the ability to kind of maintain time of possession, run the football, things like that, keep the ball out of Hennessy's offense's hands. So this game could go either way, but I'm going to pick Dibble to go on the road and get the win.
Mark.
First ever meeting between these schools. Dibble's in a tough district. They beat Davis earlier this year. That's impressive to knock off the state champs. Holdenville's also in this district. I think we're going to see some really good playoffs coming up here. So Hennessy's looking for their first playoff win since 2017. Dibble made the 2023 quarterfinals and missed last season. So I'm going to go with Dibble in this one.
TJ and Ryan, you guys have both been great on the show tonight. Let's get your final picks. Dibble at Hennessy. TJ, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dibble based on the proximity to Washington and that they beat Davis earlier this year. So going with the Demons for the upset.
Ryan.
Yeah, Dibble came to Minco week 1 this year. Minco got him 20-12, but I was really impressed with what Dibble had on the field. He got some big old guys, a pretty good running game. So I'm also going to go with the Dibble Demons.
Jacob, last pick to you.
Well, I'm going to throw out all the research I did on this game to get ready for the pick. And because everybody else on the panel picked Dibble, and I had Hennessy favored by 4.5, I'm rolling with the home team. I'm rolling with the Hennessy Eagles. I think their multi-look offense has been rolling. Dibble's tough. But if Dibble can't stop the zone read, it might be a long night. And I think Hennessy gets it done. And really what's made me pick it is, all four of you guys picked Dibble, and I've watched ESPN Game Day so many times, and I know how that goes when everybody picks the road team or whatever scenario I see. I'm going against the grain here. I'm the against the grain guy on the show, and so I'm taking the Hennessy Eagles.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the playoff edition of the Squirtle Paydirt Pick'em Show. Be sure to tune into Squirtle.tv or the Squirtle app so you can watch those network games we just discussed for free. Thanks as always to our sponsors and our guests tonight, Ryan and TJ. You guys are welcome back on the show anytime. Best of luck to your teams this Friday in the first round matchups. Enjoy the playoffs this week, Oklahoma. We'll see you back again next week.
Brahms Banana Fudge Sundae, overflowing with delicious hot fudge and fresh slices of banana. Treat yourself to a banana fudge sundae at Brahms, where every spoonful is pure bliss.